and welcome to the Aunty Lisa show again. Right, what shall we do? Sorry about today. I have put some new people in as per Aleksander's request. Let's see. Okay, Lloyd, the bin man. He's going in. That wasn't who I just put in. He was in a few days ago. Oh, Drill. Well, that makes sense because they are cousins. Let's see. Oh, would you look at that? Kristoffer, Aleksander, and Aunty Lisa. Oh, what a result. Dashi. Always good to have a photographer. A T-Rex. Not always great to have a T-Rex, but hey, I'm going to choose one more from here because I really want one of the new ones. Not that I would cheat, obviously. Look, not cheating. Ow, poops. El Fuego. Never mind. We'll get one of the new ones another day. Okay. Places. Oh, sleepy. Stuck under my fingernail. Stuck. The sun. That's a new one. Thank you, Aleksander, for that request. Not sure I really want to go to the sun. Bag of random things. Bag of random things. A treasure chest. Ba ba ba. Okay. Oh dear. One day, Aunty Lisa, Aleksander, and Kristoffer decided that it would be a fabulous idea to go to the sun. Dun dun dun. Now, they gave this a lot of thought and a very thorough risk assessment was done. And they decided that actually going all the way to the sun might see them frizzled up like a few frizzled sausages, so burnt and crusty that no one would ever know they even existed. They just went. So they thought, okay, what we'll do is we'll take ourselves a little journey into space. That's right. Yeah. But we're not going to go all the way into the sun. We're just going to go nearby. A little flyby of the sun. Just to see what it looks like. Pretty bright, I'm guessing. So they needed a team. A team of people so daring, so wild and crazy that they would be prepared to go into space to see the sun. And they decided to ask around. And so they asked all of their friends. And as it turns out, not all of them were crazy enough to do this daring mission. In fact, most of them said, "You're crazy. I'm not going anywhere near the sun." So, in the end, they had the team which was Lloyd, the bin man. Now, he is cousins with Drill and Chad. Chad was too busy policing the mean streets of Lego City, but Drill had some time off, and he's always up for an adventure. So he said, "Yep, I'm in." So Lloyd and Drill were in. Lloyd, he can take time off whenever he likes because he's a bin man and they always work good shifts and have extra long holidays. So he had some holiday coming and he took that time off. Now, El Fuego, he was super excited because he's El Fuego and he loves fire. It's in his name. Fuego. He was well up for it. Also, he's already a ghost. No harm can come to him. the only other member of the crack team of crazy people was Dashi. Now, Dashi is a very keen amateur photographer, which means that she's always trying to get her photographs in magazines. Now, normally they're under the sea photographs, but in this case, it was going to be a photograph of the sun from as close as they could go. Pretty hairy mission indeed. So anyway, they needed one more thing before they could go on their crazy mission to the sun. Do you know what that is? No? Any ideas? None at all? It's a rocket, of course! They needed to get hold of a rocket. They needed somebody that was crazy enough to have enough technology that they could make a rocket. So they asked their friend, their new friend in fact, who is called Gru. And Gru used to be a master criminal, but now he works for good, which is lucky because he was a pretty good criminal. And Gru said, of course, I'll make a most amazing rocket. Yes, we'll go to the sun. Okay, yay. Wow. This was turning up to be quite an amazing adventure already. So, here's what they did. They packed a bag. And in that bag, they packed things like space suits with the great big enormous helmets on so they could go on spacewalks outside the rocket. If anything went wrong, you could fix it. And they packed some snacks, actually quite a lot of snacks. And most of the snacks were the kind that's dehydrated that you add water to. Like dehydrated sausage mix, which by the way is disgusting. Anyway, they packed that. And they packed some scientific equipment so that they could do some scientific studies on their way to the sun. And they had decided, actually, because it's a really long way to the sun, that would be a really good idea if they stopped off on some different planets on the way to the sun. And now I'm just thinking to myself, which are the different planets that are nearer the sun? And that is an excellent question. And I think probably I should have learnt that at school. I'm going to go with Mercury, because that seems like a really hot planet. Don't even think I have a book that I can look this stuff up in. Wait. Ah! No, it says plants. No. Okay, I'm just going to say Mercury. Don't care. Right. So they decided they're going to stop off on Mercury and just have a little look around, first of all. And then they'll go as close as they can to the sun. And El Fuego was going to do some super cool tricks. And they're going to film it and send it back to YouTube so that everyone on YouTube can watch him doing amazing cool tricks in the sun or near the sun. Not on the sun. He too would get kind of frizzled, I think. So anyway, the big day came. Launch day. And they all set off to the rocket launch pad. And all the minions were there. The minions had been working super hard building the most amazing rocket. And the minions also gave them a little present. And the little present was, because minions are a bit cheeky, it was a treasure chest that they wanted everyone to fill up with some treasure from their trip to the sun. For example, golden sun rays and moonbeams and shooting stars. They were quite keen to catch a shooting star and put it in the treasure chest. No one had explained to them that might be a bit tricky. But anyway. So, launch day arrived. Aunty Lisa, Aleksander, Kristoffer, Lloyd, Drill, El Fuego and Gru and Dashi were all set for their adventure, and they climbed aboard the rocket. Aleksander and Kristoffer were at the front, or the top of the rocket, and they had the controls. Aunty Lisa was close behind, and everyone else was just milling about. But they all put on their space helmets, and they all strapped themselves in. So very important safety, even when you're going to the sun. And they put all their bags and things on, and then they closed all the doors, and the minions went 5, 4, 3, oh, because minions don't talk properly, and back off, and the rocket went up, 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 out of the Earth's atmosphere. And that in itself was pretty cool, because they could look down and they could see the whole of the planet Earth and all the seas and all the countries and all the clouds and everything. And they said, wow, that is the most beautiful sight in the whole world. Because it is the whole world. Who would have thought it? Anyway, so on their way they were. And the first stop was at the moon. And they stopped off at the moon for a little game of football. And while they were on the moon, they were kicking around the football, and it was going pew, pew. And they were like, wow, the moon is really cool. And they were at the moon. They said, you know what? We need to collect some treasure at the moon. And they found some cool treasure at the moon, which was some flags, which I'm sure nobody will notice have gone. So they packed the flags inside the treasure chest. And that was fine. And also, because as we know, the moon is made of cheese, they also packed some cheese and took it on their way to the next stop, which was Mercury, because I do not know my planets. It was Mercury. I wish I could look this up, but I can't because I'm using my phone. Oh, I could do it on the computer maybe. Anyway, I'm going to do it as I talk. So, anyway, they were on, oopsie daisy, on their way to Mercury. And on the way, they thought to themselves, we should do something super special when we're on the planet Mercury and collect some amazing new chemicals and rocks and things to go in our treasure chest. For some reason, I am unable to, right. Computer says no. So anyway, they landed on Mercury. And Mercury was full of the most mysterious things you've ever seen. It was full of alien footprints. They were everywhere on Mercury. And everyone was looking around like, what? I didn't even know anybody lived here. This is super cool. Wow, as they floated about on Mercury. And they went, you know what? we should take a plaster cast of these alien footprints, although Mercury, and now I think about it, it's probably a gaseous planet. And that's what they did, and they took some footprints. And the footprints looked exactly like T-Rex footprints. But everyone knew that would be crazy if T-Rex lived on Mercury. So anyway, once they'd done that, up they shot away from Mercury towards the sun. And it started to get, frankly, a little bit too hot. Just a little bit too hot. Everyone was sweating. Everyone was sweating. Sweat drops were just floating around inside the space rocket. And everyone's like, ugh, and Gru said, hey, this was a terrible idea. Why did we go to the sun? It's hot as the sun in here. Oh, no. And Drill said, oh, man. It's even harder than when I have to do beach duty and watch out for people in the sea. Ugh, I'm melting. And Lloyd said, well, this is even hotter than the day that I got locked in the bin lorry all day on a hot day. I nearly passed out. And Aunty Lisa said, well, you guys, you all wanted to go to the sun. That's where we're headed. I know it's a bit hot. Aleksander and Kristoffer, well, to be fair, they were okay, which surprised Aunty Lisa because normally they do not like to be too hot. Dashi, however, was absolutely loving it because Dashi was taking so many photos. She'd taken all loads of photos on the moon. She'd taken loads of photos on Mercury. And now the sun was coming more and more into view. And she could see on the surface of the sun all the sun flares, I think they're called, where it was spurting up molten lava into the sky. And she was like, oh my God, this is amazing. She was super happy. So they got closer and closer and closer to the sun. And everyone got grumpier and grumpier and grumpier. Aunty Lisa even started to lose her cool a little bit. She was like, oh, you guys, why did we go to the sun? This was so silly of me. I should have said no at the beginning. Oh, God, let's just get these pictures and get out of here. Now, El Fuego was like, hey, this is the best day ever! I'm El Fuego! Right, where's my launcher? I'm gonna do the most amazing trick. I'm gonna fly towards the sun. And then I'm gonna do a floop-de-loop and a twirly-twirly. And I'm gonna floop right back here. I've got my rockets on my back and I'm ready to go. Aunty Lisa said, okay, we'll do this. Dashi, are you ready? Dashi said, right you are, Aunty Lisa. I'm ready. Aleksander and Kristoffer, are you ready? Because we've got to turn this thing around as soon as we can, okay? Once we've got these pictures, we are going home. Aleksander and Kristoffer said, yep, right you are, Aunty Lisa. We are ready to turn the rocket around as soon as we need to. Well, El Fuego went into the airlock and out towards the sun. And he was like, because he had rockets on his back. And he was doing cool loop-de-loops. And twizzles. And little... Dashi was taking photos. Aleksander and Kristoffer had their iPads. They were filming it. To be fair to El Fuego, it did look super cool. Now, at last, he was done doing his filming. And he made it all the way back to the rocket, through the airlock and back inside. And he was like, hey, you guys, did you see? Did you see? It was amazing. I did flips and loops through the sun. I am the most amazing adventurer and stuntman that ever lived. And everyone said, I agree. You are the most amazing adventure and stuntman that ever lived. Now let's go home because it is too hot. Ugh. So, they started the engines. Aleksander and Kristoffer were pressing the buttons. Turning the steering wheel of the rocket. Nothing was working. This had the potential to be an absolute disaster. The rocket had stalled and it was drifting towards the sun. No! Closer and closer and closer. Everyone was getting sweatier and sweatier and sweatier. And they said, what are we going to do? We're drifting towards the sun. We're all going to be frizzled like sausages. Apart from maybe Fuego. But definitely everybody else was going to get frizzled like a sausage. And they sat down and thought, this is it. This is the end. We just took one too many risks. We literally flew too close to the sun. Whatever shall we do? Then Aleksander and Kristoffer said, hey, Aunty Lisa, we got our iPads. Do you think maybe the Wi-Fi reaches out here? Aunty Lisa said, you never know. So, they tried it. Beep, 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 beep. Just one teeny tiny little bit. That was lucky. And they called up the only person they know that could help. And his name was Superman. Handy to have a friend who's called Superman. And they were like, hey, Superman. And Superman was like, hey, what's up, you guys? Just doing my hair. Yeah, what's up? How can I help you? And Aleksander and Kristoffer said, well, funny story. We're in a rocket, and the rocket is in space, as you might have guessed, and it's stalled, and oh, big sneeze happened. Ooh. And the rocket has stalled, and it's embarrassing actually, but we're drifting towards the sun, and we're a bit scared that we might get frizzled like sausages. And Superman said, oh no, I can't have two of my favourite guys get frizzled like sausages. And they said, yeah, and Aunty Lisa's here too. And Dashi, and Drill, and Lloyd, and El Fuego, although we're not so worried about him. And Gru's here. And Gru said, hey, you gotta rescue me, you gotta rescue me. I'm too young to die. Superman said, hey, don't worry, I'm coming to get you, all right? I'll be there as quickly as I possibly can. Bye-bye. And Superman put his Superman outfit on because he had been dressed in normal clothes and went... Do, 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 do. Through space he went, as fast as his little body would take him. Faster and faster and faster and faster. Meanwhile, the rocket was getting closer and closer and closer to the sun. Everybody inside the rocket was like this. Water. Water. It was not good times. Superman was going, now, just as the rocket was getting to start to melt on the outside, all the paint dripping off, all the metal bits melting, everybody inside going, ah! Superman arrived. No one could hear him because of space being a vacuum, but anyway. Lucky for Superman, his hands do not burn very easily, and he grabbed hold of the rocket and he went, And he turned it around and he powered that rocket all the way back to Earth. Everyone inside the rocket wished they'd put their seatbelts on already and went, ah! Oh, God. Oh, moving so fast. Oh, gonna throw up. Sick went everywhere inside that rocket. Just flying everywhere on account of being in space. Eventually, Superman and the rocket made it back to Earth. And he launched them into the sea right next to Jurassic World. Just because. Anyway, and the rocket outside the rocket went psh, because it was so hot. And all the sea around it started to bubble a little bit, where it started to boil. That's how hot the outside of the rocket had gotten. Luckily, it's very well insulated because they'd thought about this. Psh, it went. Steam came up. And then the rocket door opened. Superman held his breath. Was everyone inside frizzled like a sausage? Had they melted? He looked inside. Everyone inside was like this. It didn't look good. But at least they weren't frizzled like sausages. And then he thought, I know, they need some water. So he went to the sea next, which was where they were. And he sucked up a load of water. And then went. And the water went all over everyone inside the rocket. And everyone inside the rocket went, hey, God, what? Oh, I'm all soggy and wet. It's salty. Blah, blah, blah. And Superman went, hey, you're alive. And everyone went, we're alive. And I was super pleased, but still super exhausted and horribly dehydrated. So Superman carried them all to Jurassic World because that was the nearest place, and everyone had a really big drink of water. And Owen said, you guys, I told you it was a silly idea to go to the sun. And Aunty Lisa said, I have to agree with you, actually. But hey, we got some great pictures. And now Fuego's got a brilliant video to put on his YouTube. And we collected lots of cool treasure to give to the minions. And Owen said, well, that does sound pretty good. Would you guys like to have some delicious T-Rex ice creams? We've just got them in. And Aunty Lisa and Aleksander and Kristoffer and everybody went, yes! Ice cream is exactly what we need right now because we have been too hot. And the best thing to cool you down when you have been too hot is an ice cream, especially if it's a T-Rex one. And so that's what they did. Everybody had a delicious T-Rex ice cream. And then they looked at all amazing pictures and videos and decided that they were probably going to become YouTube millionaires with the brilliant video of El Fuego. And Dashi was probably going to become the world's most famous amateur photographer for being the person to take the closest up picture of the sun. And the minions were super excited about all the cool treasure that they collected. And they loved the cheese from the moon. And that is the end of the story. Whew, I'm exhausted. Love you. Night night.